I'm really proud of how we persevered, being down the deficit that we were at the half, having 10 turnovers, and they were shooting lights out in the first half. We could have easily packed it up, went home, but this group is so resilient and so mentally tough that they just never give up. And I thought we came out in the second half and we did a much better job of executing. I thought the first half we were playing too fast. And because of that, we had silly turnovers when we actually had really good looks. But I thought when we settled down, we got those good looks and we hit them in the second half. And I actually thought we defended much better in the second half and didn't give them as many open looks. But even when the lead would pull away again a little bit, and then we would fight back, we always had another fight in us, and I appreciate that. This group just is not afraid to scrap and claw and do whatever it takes to win.
Sammy, the last, 5 or 7 minutes, it seemed like the defensive intensity kind of ratcheted up. Was there anything said or, I don't know, what changed, I guess? Did you just know it was kind of time to turn on?
I mean, yeah, like you said, kind of just knew. We clawed our way back in how many times, giving it up and then clawed right back in. So we knew it was time. We needed to lock down. If we wanted to win this game, we had to get those stops. So I think we definitely just, the momentum of the crowd and then feeding off of each other and all the energy, we just got those stops.
Sammy, kind of going off what Kyle said, you hit a 3 at some point, I think it was the third quarter, and just the relief on your face when it went down. I mean, did it feel like the energy changed after that point for you?
Yeah, I was just waiting to see it go in. I'd had many open looks, and they all looked good, and then it rattled off the rim. So to finally see the one go in, it was a sign of relief, yes.
What was it like going through the swings of, you scored, I think, the first 7 points in the second half, they come 10 straight, you have 10 straight, then they have another run, and it just felt like every time you got close, they always had an answer until the end. But just how is it frustrating, I guess, when it seems like you're maybe going to get over the hump and then you kind of come back at you?
I just feel like that's the game of basketball. Both teams going to have runs, and it's just a matter of time of when you have your run. And luckily, ours is always in the matter of time, fourth quarter when we need it the most, and we just stick down, and it just happens. Nothing really nerve-wracking about it, but it's just knowing who you got on your team and the players that y'all have and what y'all capable of doing out there.
Just for both Q and Sammy, I know you guys are in the moment and want to make a run in this tournament, but you guys had a great comeback against the team to finish third place in the Big East, had a ton of great wins this season. Is there a small part of you that is kind of proving that, hey, we belong in the NCAA tournament?
100%. We can play with any of these teams. We would have made a great run, I think, in the NCAA tournament too, but we just got to prove what we're made of and what we can do where we're at right now. So we're just taking full advantage of it.
How do you kind of see that, Q?
Same as Sammy, I feel like we should still be playing with some of those teams out there, and that's exactly why we're still playing. It may not be exactly where we want it to be, but we're just going to show why we're still here and why we're still playing.
And Tricia, not to follow on that, there were 5 power conference teams that were 500 or worse, including one that was 6 and 10. They all lost in the first round. Does that say something that we're not selecting these teams the right way?
I can't speak on, I'm not in that selection room. I think the group that I feel the worst for every time on men's and women's side is the top mid-major conferences. You look at the men's side, Indiana State, they had the right net, so we give this barometer of the right net. Well, they got it, and yet the door was still shut in their face. And then you see some uninspired BCS teams make it on men's and women's side that I just feel so bad for not only us, but Ball State was a good team too. You saw Columbia got in at the last minute, but had they been left out too, it's you just feel bad for the top echelon of mid-major conferences that have teams that all year long have scheduled right to try to get in, have dominated in their conference, and then they have to win on that one weekend or you're said you're not good enough. And I hate that. I hate that with every part of my body because we have been in that situation more than I'd like to say. But I'm really proud of this group because this tournament is prestigious and it's well run, and we appreciate the opportunity, and we're going to make the most of it. We could be home not playing at all, and so I would rather still be playing, and I'm very grateful, and I know my players are too. But I will say it took us all weekend, all of us, to probably regroup after losing in the conference tournament because it's hard to be perfect. We lost one conference game and then lost in the conference tournament. It's hard to say to them, you failed. You didn't fail. You had a great year, and you stumbled in the conference tournament in overtime, mind you. But I just wish if we were going to expand the tournament, the NCAA tournament, I wish what we would do is take in mind that top echelon of mid-major teams and say who's not getting in that should have gotten in, and let's put them in before we put more BCS teams in that are 500.
Or worse.
Cleveland State and St. John's coach commented about the atmosphere and how it seemed to energize you guys. How big of a role do you think that played today down the stretch?
We love our fans. I mean, they help us with those momentum swings and those runs that we make. They keep those runs going just because of the energy, and you can feed off of that energy. So we really do love our fans.
Right
y'all
on cue.
hear him right now. That's funny. I love y'all, man. They funny.
Q, going back to today's game, they held you in check through 3 quarters. Going into that fourth, were you feeling frustrated, or did you have some confidence that your shot's going to start to fall and you're going to be able to take it up?
Yes, I was feeling a little frustrated, but coach just kept telling me, like, calm down, like, it's okay, you gotta slow down out there. Once you slow down, like, everything is gonna start coming to you, and that's what happened. Like, I slowed down, got a couple buckets, but it is very frustrating when stuff like that happens, but I just know, like, we still gonna be fine because I got, like, who I got behind me, like, Sammy out there knocking down threes and getting blocks, like, on defense, so, like, we fine.
Trisha, how big are the wins in the last 2 years? You've beaten Michigan twice, St. John's, Iowa State. To beat like these power conference teams, like what do you think it does for just like the respect level of the program nationally? I don't know, I assume that helps recruiting, just kind of all facets of the program.
I hope it legitimizes not only Toledo women's basketball, but our league. I think we've got a good league. I think the unfortunate thing for the MAC is that we had a lot of coaches turnover and a lot of kids hit the portal last season. And fortunate for us, our group stuck around. But I think that bottom half is going through a revitalization. And unfortunately, that pulled our net scores down when we played those teams. It's tough. When you have a coaching change, what can happen to a program with the portal is scary. And so you feel for them because things happened, but it hurt all of us, not just those programs. And so, you look at when Central Michigan and Buffalo were both getting in, the rest of the league was pretty good. And our team, back then it was RPI. If you went by RPI, our RPI was 38. So, if you went by RPI, you might have said we had a legitimate, we were in. We're not going by RPI anymore, we're going by net. And so we got to live with that. But I do think, I hope that the league continues, the bottom half continues to grow, because as they grow, maybe we get 2 teams in again. We need them to schedule correctly, recruit well, retain their kids, and that helps everybody.
For Q and Sammy, when you play these power conference teams, I mean, I know you're not necessarily trying harder, but is there like a little more at stake at all for you guys?
I would just say, like, it's less rooms for mistakes. Like, you have to go out there and be crisp with everything that you do and not take a moment off, like on offense or defense. That's what I would say is probably like the biggest difference. And everybody is bigger. Like, everybody is bigger in those bigger schools. So
And quicker.
and quicker. Yes, I'm keeping up with them, coach.
No, that's a good answer.
No, off of what she said, obviously you play with a little more of a chip on your shoulder just to prove yourself. But no, you just have to eliminate the mistakes that you're making, a little bit less of that, and then just making those little plays, going after those loose balls. Those are what are going to help you win those games.
Trisha, how important was it to get Kira Goss back on the floor and be able to play with foul trouble early in that second half?
I thought it hurt us that she was on the bench with foul trouble in that first half. And, because I think up until when she got in foul trouble, we only had 3 turnovers. And unfortunately, when she went to the bench, I didn't think we played as confidently. But she also defends well, too. I thought they got loose a little bit with her on the bench. She just brings a lot to our team. She's such a tough kid. Her mental toughness, she doesn't get enough credit for what she brings. She guards the toughest kid on the team, and I know she and Q kind of split time at that today, but she just brings so much. Intangibles that you can't even find in a stat sheet. Just her hustle, her determination, her willingness to fight for 50-50 balls. I mean, she is incredibly important to us. So when we got her back, I thought it was tough to want to take her out because we really hit some good rhythms with her on the floor, and I wanted to keep her in as long as she could play.
Hannah had 13 points, 10 rebounds, she only played 14 minutes. She plus 19 and being one by one. The numbers kind of tell the story, but how important was she and how the game went down?
I would say this, not only in this game, but in our last game, if you look at the minutes Hannah played, she has been incredibly impactful in this tournament. And if you look at just her being efficient, I talked to a coach in our league that watched our Cleveland State game and said, man, in 4 minutes, Hannah Novoroski took over your Cleveland State game. She did. And today, I thought she was extremely powerful, going to the rim and not afraid, and took her time and finished. She's really worked hard on that. And I couldn't be more proud of her, because when we needed an easy bucket, she got it for us. Because on the perimeter, they were pretty quick and athletic, and they were making it difficult for us to find scores. But they were challenging us to score inside, and she did.